Hi everybody, I'm here in the Bahamas, taking some time to myself privately. It lets me enjoy some time off alone, get black out at a place I'll never visit again. Life is pretty good. For some reason, whenever I go on a trip, I start thinking about Wario. I'm not kidding, let me get this out of my system. Being entirely serious, this image has permanently stuck of Wario in my memory whenever I'm having fun. He looks so at peace here. See, my thing with Wario is just how irregular he is in terms of a character. The entire point of Wario is to be an evil Mario. Despite being cousins, they're polar opposites. Mario is Wario if he turned that frown upside down, and that's why they're the same letters, but not and different. This is a sick and twisted, probable Italian-American elf creature guy. There's just something about Wario that makes him seem unreal. Maybe it's the design he has, or the fact he's the yellow one. Everything about Wario, especially the old Wario, feels like something that shouldn't exist. But lo and behold, there he is, being a muscular, curvaceous nutcracker man with genie shoes. When I think of N64 Mario, specifically the one from Super Mario 64, he's like a timid wild animal, absolutely a creature. Low polygon Mario looks like he scrounges loose berries lost across the flora of our world. That's what old Wario used to look like. Before he was domesticated, Wario was a little forest goblin. He would guard a bridge. He would steal Mario's castle that Mario has and is known to have, considering his connections to several royal families. And then the goofballs in Nintendo-topia, they looked at each other, not only thinking about how they would copyright claim my videos 30 years later, but also make Wario into his own franchise. Nothing new in the land of Mario. Most of the main cast have gotten at least one game one way or another. Wario in specific is interesting though, as in Nintendo's chance to get really weird with their most popular franchise, maybe with Nintendo as a whole. We get better insight on Wario's character when thinking about how different he is. Beyond the simple aspect of greed, of course. He's been a corrupt, desiring freak his whole life. Only sick and twisted individuals wear purple overalls in public. Like Wario's a fashion travesty, dude. Now let's start with the most obvious question. What's the goal? I mean, everyone's gotta have a goal, right? Donkey Kong wants bananas. Mario wants to be a good little Samaritan and get a big sloppy kiss on his schnostrils. Peach is trying to be a politician and be lukewarm. Yoshi wants to lose custody and probably commit tax fraud. And Luigi wants to not have to explore giant, scary, horrifying mansions. Wario he does whatever he wants. Usually he's in it for the money, the luxury, but he doesn't even do anything with his mountains of gold. He just exists. A lot of his adventures are based on the simple premise of accumulating wealth and treasure hunting. So then, in that case, is Wario a businessman? Is he a net positive for the planet, or at least the greater Mushroom Kingdom? Or is he a menace? Is it based on his current financial standing at any given moment? Well, like every time I see Wario, I can only imagine him challenging himself. His life is so unpredictable and inconsistent with every other character of the greater Mario world. I specifically need to refer to the real estate of the situation. His real estate. Better grasp him as a whole. The first Wario games we want to look at are Wario's Woods and Wario Land, both released in 1994. Complete opposite stories. Wario's Wood, he gets a bunch of monsters that he befriends to invade and harass the residents of a random forest, only being stopped by a single toad. Whereas the games of Land sees Wario pursuing financial development following the loss of his castle he stole from his cousin, fighting pirates under Captain Syrup, and eventually working to a point where he can live comfortably, if comfortably is 19 figures. The housing of the majority of the Mario Bros cast has never been a major concern, but it's absolutely inconsistent. Like Peach and Bowser are always in castles or airships, though they differ in size and appearance every time they show up. The Yoshis have an island. They represent their own nation, and the Mario Bros have a collection of humble homes differing across countries and stories, unless they deliberately contradict that and have their own giant mansions or properties. Sometimes they just live in Princess Peach's castle, but Wario seems to reinvest all his assets to a level where I'm confused what his endgame is. And I'm under the impression that he's not allied to any kingdom or part of the world other than himself. I mean, let's look at the things named after him. You got multiple stadiums, a coliseum, a ski resort, a dam connected to the ski resort, a semi-abandoned shipyard that could be like a really good bar and grill place that gives seafood, or I don't know. I feel like Wario makes good shrimp, and a gold mine with housing. So at the very least, I'm assuming he's giving back and creating jobs. See, having a person or character whose entire gimmick is accumulating wealth, making money, being greedy, whatever, there's always a reason as to why. The value of the currency becomes virtually worthless if it's being stockpiled with no intent other than to brag about having an accumulation of cash not being used for or on anything. It has to be spent, invested, or saved up to eventually be used. Otherwise, it's invalidating the entire purpose of money as a universal trade, along with why it's transformed into an absolute necessity of our lives. Regardless of the cash flow or quantity, it's the objective baseline that creates justification for itself. Now, Wario likes yummy food and cool cars, and that's it. This chunky chalupa stretches his assets thin and inconsistently, not really pursuing anything other than what sounds appealing, regardless of the pain and suffering that could come from it. That's another thing though. In canon, Wario is simply unable to die. He ignores the very concept of it. I'm not joking. This is simply a man, a specimen, an enigma, who could be written a professional letter by death itself for him to forfeit his time on this plane of existence, and he remains unbothered by it, entirely uninterested. Wario Land Shake It. Wario enters a pocket dimension thingy to get like a magical money bag that makes infinite gold when you shake it. Do you need infinite gold? Probably not. But I mean, we've seen Wario with large assets, and his large assets, he might have purer intent than most. Wario Land 4 for the Game Boy Advance sees Wario pursuing more treasure while also accidentally saving a nice lady along the way. In every game and adventure, he seems to be in like this endless nightmare torment, and I don't even get that. Wario goes around and shoulder bashes whoever provokes him. He is an innocent animal. He's like a black bear. He's like a polar bear. If you approach him, you're gonna cause problems for yourself. Just don't go to him. Wario World for the GameCube is quite possibly the most GameCube-y game to ever GameCube. It's about Wario's iconic castle being taken over by a rotten black jewel that makes evil demon creatures out of his home. This does not feel like a real game, but apparently it is. This is the paradox that Wario created. I'm like 40% sure that Wario's capable of creating a black hole creature. I'm like 40% sure that Wario's capable of creating a black hole in culture where anything next to Wario feels like it's not real, purely witnessing in disbelief of whatever the creature makes come to life. Look at Wario World on the Nintendo GameCube and tell me this is a real Mario game made by real Nintendo man. It isn't. The government is trying to tell you otherwise. It goes even further in WarioWare, a franchise that I'm more or less just confused by than anything. For me, Wario's life is split into his Mario self and then this life, because in that one he wears the Mario hat but yellow, but in this one he becomes a biker man who bikers. He lives in Diamond City with a crew of wacky random characters, and then they all help make Wario make micro games, and they're like easy video games in terms of making a profit, like 3-second long mini games. This is something that allows me to understand the man behind the mask, because Wario isn't typically a man who comes off as cutting corners. So it's odd in this instance that he chooses to, though it's entirely possible he believes in the quality of his craft, although he does tend to work alone unless he has malicious intent, or it objectively makes more sense for him to work alongside someone. But never in our time with the fatty little fat boy has he had to pay people who consider him friends. It feels like he's paying them with favors or something. It feels wrong. I had the impression he'd pay fair wages to everybody, and now I'm worried for the people in his gold mine. Are they being financially compensated? They're defaulting with these abhorrent abominations of canyon housing or whatever. At the very least, are the imaginary people who live in the houses of Wario's gold mine earning at least 5 figures to support their families? Wario hires miners and fails to pay either of them the minimum wage. Wacky characters of the WarioWare friend group include Jimmy T, known for his love of dancing with small animals, a passion that's ruined relationships and his mental health. 5V, a single mother who Wario hires and fails to compensate, knowing her struggles along with employing her child. There's a robot, an alien, a whole bunch of other small children who know how to code somehow, including one that I don't want in Smash Bros. There's also that one leaker who got caught and taken out back, and then there's Mona, who's got a big old crush on Wario, just like the rest of us. So remember, kids, if Mona can pull Wario, then so can you. Yeah, I mean, WarioWare's neat and all. Personally, I'm more fond of Rhythm Heaven myself, but all these unqualified people are pretty not bad at making microgames. Ultimately, every time Wario tries and fails to make a proper profit on his software development process, he's strange and still has a mountain named after him. It's funny to me that every person a part of the WarioWare franchise is better off without him, and yet here he is, still going. What a guy. But of all of his relationships and whatnot, there's one that shines above the rest. Like it's pretty obvious who I'm gonna bring up. So when I think of Wario, I think about his iconic best pal Garrett, Wario's alien son who time travels from the future to help Wario accumulate wealth on all of his schemes. I like Garrett's orange overalls, his pink hat, and lack of hesitation to kill when his dear best friend and father is in danger. And then there's also Waluigi. He's also there. He's the purple one. Imagine being born from the void to be a tennis partner for a stubby yellow man with an abnormally huge jaw. I just see Waluigi as like in pure bewilderment. At least every other Mario character shows up in a mainline game, regardless of how big of a game it was. Daisy literally only appeared in Mario Land for like 15 seconds. She's a mainstay now. Waluigi gets nothing. His entire purpose is to be Wario's friend, I think. To be the purple one. His hat doesn't even make sense. Like, I get it's a flipped L because Waluigi, Luigi, they're counterparts. But I thought this was supposed to be a lowercase r for like a decade. God damn, I was a stupid kid. The more I realize about myself, the more I understand why there was a nice lady who would take me out of my kindergarten class to play board games with them. That's a true story, by the way. I still don't know what that was for. I'm too embarrassed to ask my parents. Cowabunga. I don't care. Waluigi is my favorite. Him and Shy Guy and Ninja. I went as Waluigi last Halloween. I would show my face, but I'm still waiting for someone to find me in a video. That's a fun fact I've been holding off on for a while. I made a fake stock image of myself and put it in a video as a face reveal. Good luck finding it. This isn't a bit. My face is already been in a video created between the past 3 weeks to 3 years. This is not a joke. Good luck finding my face. Well, looking into Waluigi, it elevates Wario from being a scary man that horrifies children to the gaming equivalent of the wet bandits of Home Alone fame. But these two don't leave sinks on to flood houses. Instead, they rig games and then they discover ancient tennis artifacts that turn them into stone monsters. And then they cheat at golf and get stranded in the Arctic. Are they brothers? Are they friends? Are they lovers? I mean, their hats are opposite on the color wheel. Opposites attract. Will they, won't they? Miyamoto, Mr. Nintendo Man. Who tops? Do they alternate? You're gonna have to tell us one of these days. Yeah, no, Waluigi's the equivalent of twin. They have the same vision. They go hand in hand. I'd rather watch them working together than Wario go on an adventure to be the master of his disguise or something. I want to see him play tennis with the purple Luigi. Unfortunately, across 25 years, Waluigi's only notable personality seems to be his lack thereof. He's the real-life equivalent to Wario of a friend who you struggle to imagine having their own life other than wanting to do stuff with you. I'd very much like to see Waluigi actually show up in another game that doesn't require athletic expertise or monetary board game knowledge or mini games, but at the very least, I imagine him as the vice president of Wario Land. When Peach holds her baseball island adventures or Mario parties with the intent of socio-political peace maintenance and unification of their world, Wario represents himself. Waluigi being the queen of the kingdom, that kingdom being the size of a cluttered garage with all other money being spent on legitimate sporting entertainment facilities. I just can't imagine a situation where I have my own Waluigi. I just can't imagine having another me who has opposite physical traits of me.
You sure said it, pal. I'm Lil Choop, and I love you.
How did you manage to find me here, Little Choop?
I hid in your travel toothpaste. Yep, was a tight fit too.
You hid in my travel toothpaste.
Yep.
Okay. What do we have to say about Wario? His whole life from start to finish has been one full of indifference and doing whatever he wants. He's hard-headed, a little selfish, has a tall purple friend, he's a monetary mystery, a physical anomaly with superhuman strength and durability, an oddly inconsistent yet successful businessman, and I mean, I just go back to that starting question. Is he or is he not a net positive to the world around him? I mean, a lot of the problems he has to deal with were entirely optional, or they only impact him. He creates most of his issues found across the franchise, and regardless of the public perception of him, I think there is more to be explored with him. Yeah, sure, he's a selfish little dumpling man who runs around and has teeth, but in the grand scheme of things, isn't he just like the rest of us? I mean, I like ketchup on my chicken pot pie, I like money, I have a purple friend, Wario's just like the rest of us. He speaks to everyone. He speaks to me. Everyone is Wario as much as Wario is Wario. He is an oddity that is melted into everything developed from every person. I hold this character fondly. Weirdly enough, one of the earliest videos on this channel was from about 5 years ago. It was me freezing a Wario figure and attempting to break him out of an ice block, eventually remembering how long it would take and slamming the ice Wario onto the ground, making his arm shatter clean off. I felt genuine remorse and guilt for that day. In the future, I truly hope we get more time to see and interact with Waluigi as much as we do Wario. They both seem good for each other, and I just want to see if there's more to them. I truly believe that under the rougher exteriors, and they're honestly really well done blue eyeliner, they're really good at that there is more to be told behind these two iconic and beloved legacy characters. But only time will tell if we'll get that chance, and regardless, it'll be really funny if Waluigi is added as an assist trophy for a 4th time, and even then, I'm sorry, I gotta stop. I gotta stop and come back to this. Did you say that you got here by hiding in my travel toothpaste?
Yep. And say, you know what would make this duo even better?
We're not a duo, what? I've talked to you like twice. What are you, what?
If we made it a trio.
Oh.
This is Choopadorable. He likes water, dancing, and being Choopadorable.
Hi, I'm Choopadorable. I love you. I like water, dancing, and being Choopadorable.